Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, now that the League One team of the season is finished, SPC cards are out, the whole team was out, we're going to go ahead and do the tier list for the League One. So guys, this tier list is going to be a funny one because let's be honest, man, most of these cards are full meta or close to full meta. Okay, most of them are. So you're gonna see like maybe some B's and C's in this tier list that you're gonna compare it to another tier list. No, it's just for these cards here, okay, because they're so close to full meta that you're probably gonna see a lot of cards being put in the S tier because of how many fantastic cards there are that I could see pro players honestly using. Okay, so guys, let's get started, man. We got Ben Yedder's card. Ben Yedder, for me personally, you guys know, absolutely love using this card. I don't know if you guys watched me do the Foot Captain's review at the time period, but this card, when I was using him, the whole time I was freaking out on the review because I was like, this guy is like a gameplay compensator, right? It's a card that even if your gameplay is not up to par, which is most of the times, he's just gonna left stick dribble like a monster. He's got great attacking AI. His shooting is insane. It's gonna be funny because you guys have heard me say this in multiple reviews, but once it hit this card right here, 87, for the time period of FIFA, of what it was during that time period, being upgraded up until nowadays, all of these cards were now sick. These cards before, I wasn't too crazy about. Like Rare Gold's Ben Yedder in the beginning of the year, I hated him. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I didn't like him at all, but once it got to that 87 and up, it was beautiful. This card, man, he has everything. He's got the 5-star weak foot. He's 5'7", so he's a shorter player at a unique body type, high-low work rates. His shooting comes off great. You give him the hawk chemistry style, he essentially has perfect shooting, right? He's a shorter player. Center of gravity is great. Physical presence is not that crazy because he's small, but honestly compensates like crazy. So for me, guys, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because there's cards. I gotta put them in the S tier, man. Like cards like this, they just make me enjoy the game a little bit more because they actually move properly. They score opportunities like crazy. Doesn't even have the finesse shot traits, but still an absolute monster at taking some strikes. Bourigeaud was the SPC that they released today, right? So Bourigeaud, when we took a look at this card, anchored chemistry style at 100k. This card is one of those types of players that you get in the team because he's a versatile card, right? So versatile cards are people that you can use in most of the positions on the pitch. You know, one of three midfielders, right mid in his case, right wing back if you're playing a 5-back formation, right? So I thought the SPC was pretty decent. Like I wasn't completely against the price range of the card. I do think that, and this is a dumb comparison because they're not the same nationality or league, but I do like that this card, who is kind of similar in regards to what they offer in game, is 49k on the market for someone that you can actually sell, right? So that's where I was like, if the price is a little bit lower, would have been nice. Is the card decent to use in game? For me personally, I would put him in the B tier, right? Nothing too crazy to be put in the A tier or the S tier, but a card that can be used in the meta of the game because obviously he has a lot of things that works out great, right? He's a 4-star player, lean body type, high work rates, has defensive and attacking capabilities. So cards like this are always nice to be able to put into those positions. It's not a card that I see, you know, competitive players using personally to be played in those positions, but definitely still a pretty decent card to use if you did end up completing him for those specific reasons, right? Next up, we have Jonathan Klaus, right? So Jonathan's Klaus card, let me tell you guys something, man. I personally, this card is 48k. I personally think this guy is a defensive beast, okay? He just has the right defensive animations. I like using him in the right mid position as well, which not a lot of players, you know, can do that for me personally. I was using him, I believe it was on the anchor chemistry style still. I think I was using like the backbone on him, and I was like, no, in this game you need the pace, and I gave him that extra pace and it worked out significantly better. Like if I was going to decide which type of card I would rather have in that position, I would use a card like this at right back, at right mid. It's a card that performs really well. You guys know that I have this headliners card. I actually ended up getting the red because I'm going to do the custom tactic video today for the 3-4-1-2 again because it's still so good. But this headliners card was in my team for such a long time, and honestly, he still performed like a monster. He just has really good defensive animations. He's got the high work rates, 5'10" height is decent, right? On an anchor chemistry style, he is essentially good at doing everything you need him to be good at, right? If you play a 3-back formation and you need that more defensive-oriented right mid or left mid, this is the card that you put in the right mid position. So for me personally, guys, Klaus goes into the A tier. I think he's definitely very, very solid. Next up we have is the Dante gameplay objective card. So with Dante, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. When we did his review, I did the review super late, I'm sorry, but I just, you know, I had to get the card from someone because it was going to be boring for me to do regardless. But Dante, guys, on a shadow chemistry style, is actually a pretty decent center back. The only two things you have to work with this card, right, is that physical thing that he has, which most of the defenders do because that's kind of just how they are, right? And that initial acceleration feel and the initial movement feel, right? If you get past that, defensively, the card is pretty good as a gameplay objective, right? As a gameplay objective, I definitely think EA did a good job releasing this card because he has a lot of things that works out great, right? He's a 4-star weak foot, 6'2" height, low high work rates, high and average body type, base card stats for physical is in a pretty decent area except for jumping. But you know what? As a free card being released to the public, you really can't go wrong with this card. So for me, definitely a card that I'm going to be adding into the A tier as well, because he performs well for the meta of the game. I do think that Marquinhos is better, but we'll talk about that afterwards. But it's still a great card. As a gameplay objective, you genuinely can't go wrong for someone that plays for Nice. It gives you those Brazilian links depending on the type of team that you do end up building. Next up is the Emerson card. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Emerson, yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. I didn't mind the price of the SBC too much because he has very, very similar characteristics to the Nuno Mendes card, right? So when you give this card an anchor chemistry style, the pace is there, defense is there, physical is there. This card also has the high medium work rates, the average body type, 4-star weak foot. So for me personally, depending on the type of link that you were going to work with in your club, this card, if you need that Leon link or you need that Italian link, I thought it was still a good SBC because if we take a look here, right, the Nuno Mendes card, this card right now is 123k, so very similar price range, right? I personally would just go with Nuno Mendes if you're actually deciding between left back to left back, like League 1 to League 1. I would just go with Nuno Mendes just because he's a card that you can actually sell on the market. But generally speaking, I think that, you know, both of the cards are good in their own ways because they give you different types of links, right? So I definitely liked this SBC. Honestly, I think he performs pretty well in game. Nothing like too crazy, but I think he's still pretty decent. Would have definitely been a very, very good left back had he have gotten the upgrade on that bad boy. So now that I'm looking at this tier list, it's one of those types of situations where I think I would still put him at the A tier, to be honest. Like even right now, without getting the upgrade on an anchor chemistry style, I still think he performs pretty well, to be honest. I think the price of the SBC was incredibly fair for what he offers in game. Like I said, him and Nuno Mendes, not like crazy far off of each other, right? But again, if you can just buy the card, you go with Nuno Mendes because that card definitely feels very, very nice. Yeah, we might adjust this because I'm looking at the C tier and I'm like, oh, who am I going to put in the C tier here? Because like I said, all of these cards are good in their own ways, right? So maybe some of the A's will drop down to a B and then this guy to a C. We'll see. We'll see what the vibes are, right? Because this League 1 team of the season is crazy. Fofana, guys, I'm putting Fofana S tier. This guy is a beast, okay? Like, I'm telling you this right now. I was using this guy, and you know what was really cool about him, right? Is that, first of all, he's 168k. I remember when this Headliners card came out and he was extinct, and it was really hard to get him for like millions of coins, okay? I think it was like a mil or like 1.5 or something like that during the time period. I remember one of my boys was trying to snipe him all day, ended up getting him, and then he ended up being a monster, right? This card, guys, what's funny about him is that if you guys go back to the Player of the Month review, I was almost bored doing this review during that time period because I'm like, this guy is like, he's so meta oriented. Like, yeah, not as crazy in the attack, but it's the defense, you know, high work rates on a shadow chemistry style, 4-star weak foot. He already has the base stuff. So when a card like this releases, you just know that in the future, if he gets any sort of like team of the season or anything like that, he's going to be nuts, right? For me personally, Fofana was a really good card to use. I was using him in FUT Champs in horrible gameplay, right? The one game I played with him, it was the worst gameplay I've experienced this year. Hands down for League 1 team of the season during the daytime, right? I played at nighttime, which you guys are going to see in the 3-4-1-2 video. But dude, this guy was compensating like crazy. Defensively, he was a monster. You know what I like so much about him? it's that physical of him, man. His body type and his physical, for some reason, it just works out so great in this game. And he actually ended up scoring a goal for me. It was a really bad type of goal. Like, you're gonna see the type of shot animation that came out, but that's because the gameplay was horrible, right? But he was really, really nice to use. Honestly, I thought the card was an absolute monster. So for me personally, I'm putting him in the S tier. I think as a midfielder, he was fantastic. To be honest, I enjoyed using him more than Guendouzi, but the comparison's a little bit weird because Guendouzi's a medium high to a high high, right? But even still, Fofana, I don't know, man, he just has that thing to me that that I really enjoyed using, right? So next up, we got Guidi. So Guidi's card as an SBC, if you guys take a look here, WSBC 100%. The reason why this card was a WSBC is because honestly, he has an average body type, but you don't care because they gave him certain stats that allows you to enjoy this card a little bit more in those side areas. So for me personally, when I did this review, I let you guys know that this card is definitely a side position player more than he is through the middle. You could totally use him through the middle 100%, but definitely more of a side player. Guys, what's nice about this card, right, is that if you give him the Hawk chemistry style, pace boost is crazy, shooting boost is crazy, physical is crazy, this card actually has some defensive capabilities, which is super helpful to work with if you're using him in the left mid, right mid position. Now, some people were telling me, hey, Inception, why don't you just use him on a basic chemistry style? I'm not against using him on the basic chemistry style, guys, because the basic chemistry style definitely looks nice on the card as well because you give him that dribbling boost and whatnot. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you guys, and I'm going to tell you guys this for most of the reviews, yeah? You could totally use this pace, but I'm a freak when it comes to pace in this game because I really hate not getting an attacking opportunity, not getting a defensive opportunity because my players are not fast enough from a person doing one pass, right? So with this card, because he has the average body type, even if I give him perfect pace, it's still going to affect him for some of the opportunities, right? But as an SBC, if you use this card as your attacking oriented center mid, your left mid, your right mid, because attacking oriented center mid, these guys actually move into the side positions as well. It was a good SBC to get, 113k. You genuinely cannot go wrong for someone who gives you that French and League One link in your team that'll perform pretty decently in the meta of the game. Oh, this tier list is going to be so weird because I'd put him here, but then I'm going to put so many cards in the A tier. So many cards. Oh. I might have to like split up these guys into the B. Yeah, because they're good, but it's like, oh, it's hard to decide. Who would I put as a C tier? Oh, I know what I'm gonna do with the C tier. I don't know, dude. I might have to just put four rows on this. We'll see. I'm gonna be very specific with this, but yeah, I think Guidi was definitely on a WSBC for sure. A tier, I'll put him there, no problem. For now, because I'm thinking B tier, right? B tier, not because he's bad, but because, like, you know what I'm saying? Because now I'm looking at these cards. You know, I'm looking at these cards. I'm looking at these bad boys like Guendouzi, okay? So Guendouzi, guys, let me tell you guys something about Guendouzi. So when Guendouzi's card came out, the Winter Wildcard version, I don't know if you guys remember me doing the review for this card. He is a weirdo sometimes because sometimes he defends and then sometimes he doesn't, right? He has this like thing to him, right? And it's stuck with me even though I have his Winter Wildcard version on my main account. I use him constantly. But at the end of the day, guys, even if he does or he doesn't, cards like this, they're great for the meta of the game, right? They changed his work rate, which adds another variable to the card. Because let's just say, for instance, if I was going to compare Guendouzi to Fofana, I'm going to be honest with you, I like the Fofana card more, right? So it kind of makes me want to do this in this tier list where I'm doing like this. And then with Guendouzi, I would put him at the A tier. Yeah, I'd put him at, I'm not against doing this. The B tier, don't think that these cards are bad because they're maybe I'll do this on a C. I think that would make more sense. The thing about Guendouzi though is that because he's a medium high work rated player, it adds another variable to the card on top of the high, you know, because he's more of that defensive oriented card. Because I liked him. I think he's very, very solid. On a shadow chemistry style, he's definitely a really good defensive player. It's tough to say. I think I'd add him into the S tier just because of the medium high. If he was a high compared to Fofana, this one's a tough one. I'm telling you, this tier list is not going to be obvious. It's not going to be obvious because there's a lot of cards that I like here. Like Emerson, I'd still put at an A, to be honest with you. I'd put him at an A because I'd probably put Nuno Mendes at an S. Dante as a gameplay objective was nice. Klaus, I think, has those defensive animations. Guidi at leg, but average body type, but still pretty decent. I like this. I'm okay with this so far. Yeah, the way I have this set up, I'm not against. It's because I'm going to compare one player to the other, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? That's what's going to happen. This one is going to be so hard to do, I'm telling you. This one is going to be like a weird one. But from what I'm seeing so far, I'm not uncomfortable with what I've done so far. Because Klaus, I would definitely put in an S tier as well. I think he's a really good card, but I'm okay with an A tier. I'm okay with an A tier for now. Because he's very good. I really, really like him. But S tier is like what a pro player use. You know, like I could see people using Guendouzi. I could see people using Fofana Yedder. Pro players, I can maybe see Emerson, but I feel like they would just go with Nuno Mendes instead, you know? Because of the link-ups, you know? Those PSG link-ups brings them up a little bit more, you know? But yeah, Guendouzi, guys, honestly, medium-high work rates, 4-star, weak for high and average plus body type. He still has that thing to him where sometimes he does it, sometimes he doesn't, but honestly, it's worth it. In this game is weird, and I still think he's an absolute beast, right? So the medium-high work rate change was definitely a welcome one. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if they change, if they kept the high work rate, because it just creates a balance of pushing forward and coming back. But honestly, I used him next to Fofana, and the link up definitely worked out pretty nicely. I think in this year's game, it's nice to have both of them at high, but if you were to do this, I honestly, like, I wouldn't be against it, right? Next up, we have Lafont. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I put Lafont, I put him at a B tier or A tier. B tier, A tier, you know, because, yeah, I put him at an A tier. I think he's a good goalkeeper. You know, I was using him for a while. I use him on Guillau's account. I use him on my account. The goals that he would let in, would I put Lafont at A tier when I put Courtois there, though? I put Courtois there. It's going to be hard because I'm putting him here. Just to be safe, B tier. We're putting him at a B tier. Yeah, honestly, Courtois, I would put an S+. That guy is amazing. So, because Courtois at the time period, you know, I put him at an A tier just to be safe, you know, because these cards are still really good. But I think Lafont is good. I liked him. Personally, I think as a goalkeeper, a card that gives you those types of links, guys, is really, really nice, okay? The Ligue 1 links, the French links, in-game traits, he has cautious with crosses, which personally I don't like. I put the instruction on him anyway, but at least he has the rushes at a goal traits, which is a little bit more helpful, right? But honestly, I liked using him. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time period where I hated Donnarumma's guts like crazy. So I got his 86 inform card, and it performed significantly better for me. So I'll put him at an A tier because I like the links. I like how he performs in game, not against putting him at the A tier. Lucas Paqueta, my twin, we're putting at the S tier. Absolutely zero doubt about that. I think he's an absolute monster, full meta monster. Probably would put him at the S+ tier if available, because this guy is a beast, right? So here's the thing about Paqueta's card. So it's really going to depend on the person, because let's just say, for instance, you still have the foot birthday version of the card. So this one is 250k, right? The team of the season version is obviously significantly more expensive, but let's just say you started off in FIFA, right? And you have 250k, you'll need a midfielder in that area. Boom, you give him a shadow chemistry style, this guy is still a monster, right? And this guy is 5-star, 5-star. Now the team of the season is not 5-star, 5-star, he's 5-star, 4-star, but guys, even though he's a 4-star weak foot, couldn't care less. I think that's still good enough, man. This card has been improved massively in different areas, right? If we take a look at the difference between him and the foot birthday card, 4s and 5s, guys, that's where you notice the difference. 1s and 2s, not so much, right? But the price difference between the two for what they offered in game, the links that they give you in game, this guy was a beast, right? He has everything, guys. Skill moves is there, weak foot, he has the work rates, the height. He's a person who has an average body type, which, guys, average body type when your dribbling stats is like this, like in the midfield position, is disgusting, okay? You can use this card honestly anywhere. It doesn't even matter. If you give him a shadow chemistry style, you want to use him as your left mid, use him as your left mid. Center mid, doesn't matter. CDM, doesn't matter. You want to use him as your cam for fun? Be my guest, use him as your cam for fun. Honestly, if I was going to actually do a tier list of this would be an S+ tier card. I think Paqueta is an absolute monster nowadays. This guy is a beast, right? Now that I have Guendouzi next to Paqueta, it bothers me because Paqueta is better. I'm sorry, like, oh, it bothers me, but it can't. You know what? You know why I'm not letting it bother me though? Because he's medium high. That's the only reason. It's different. It's a different type of, like, you know what I'm saying? But these two cards right here, you see these two bad boys right here, they're better than Guendouzi, okay? I just want you to know that right now. For me personally, I like these two cards way more, okay? But Guendouzi is still a monster. It's an absolute beast of a card. But just letting you know, okay? Just letting you know. Next up, we have Marquinhos. Easy S tier. Easy S tier. Yeah, if we're going to be doing a comparison between center backs, easy S tier, no problem whatsoever. This is going to be the hardest tier list I've ever made. It's... These cards are so good. It's hard to, like, you know, like, mix and match with what I'm seeing. I might even have to add a row. Fodder? Probably not. I can't even call it fodder, to be honest with you. Yeah, so the team of the season version of this card, guys, he has been increased in certain areas. You guys know that I'm very familiar with the team of the year card. They both feel very similar to each other. You know, obviously with the +1s, you don't notice a big difference. You guys know I've had the team of the year on my main account during that time period, you know, for such a long time, and he's a beast. He's a very, very good card. Honestly, would be very surprised if pro players didn't try to use this card in their team, because he has everything, man. He's got the pace, you know, he's a 6-foot tall player, average body type, you know, defensive stats are there. Guys, call me a freak as much as you want. Even if I give him a shadow +2, I'm doing it. You think I'm going to give him a catalyst when I can give him +2s and 3s for defense? No chance. If you use a 4-back formation that's like kind of park the bus oriented, wouldn't be against you giving him an anchor chemistry style either, right? A little bit of extra physical would not be terrible, but I hate through balls. I hate lob passes with the deepest passion, so I want to try to avoid that as much as possible. That's why I give him the shadow chemistry style for that extra +3 in that area. So definitely an S tier card. And we're back. Yeah, I'm not against this list too much. Like, you know, I'm not. I was gonna add another column, but I'm not against this list because this team of the season is going to be very hard to kind of like pick and choose certain players, because a lot of them are very, very good for the meta of the game nowadays. Absolutely. Because that's how League One team of the season usually is. But I kind of wanted to add another list of like S+ tier. But at the same time, like, I'm okay with where the S is, because they're not like far off of each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're far off of each other personally. Yeah, I don't think they're far off each other. Okay, next up we have Kylian Mbappe. I mean, that's we don't really have to say much about that, right? Like, that's easy S tier, right? Do we even have to explain? He's literally called Glitch Mbappe for a reason. You know what's funny is that I was doing the review for this card, and I've done the review so many times this year for this bad boy that I actually got bored. You know, there was a guy in the comment section where he's like, he didn't freak out as much as the Ben Yedder or Thing card. I'm like, dude, do you see Mbappe this year? You see this guy? This guy is he's Glitch Mbappe for a reason. Honestly, if you use his rare gold card nowadays, he's still a monster, right? So this team of the season is no different. It's a card that offers pretty much everything you need to be able to exploit defense in this game, right? He even has physical presence nowadays, which is kind of crazy, because you can just give him like a sniper if you really want, right? For that extra physical, then shooting boost on the card, right? It's fantastic. If you guys got him in a red, or you got him in your team of the season polls, you're super lucky, because he is a monster. Next up we have is Messi's card. Messi is also another card that we are going to add to the S tier. Messi is a card that, I mean, you guys remember the team of the year version of Messi's card? When I reviewed this card, I thought he was absolutely nuts too, because Messi just has everything. For me personally, right? If I was playing this game 3-4-1-2 tactics, Messi would be my cam. Like, I don't like using Messi anywhere else but the middle positions. Like, he's either going to be my secondary striker or my cam. More specifically, my cam, okay? Because this card, it's like me using the Flashback Isco card, right? Flashback Isco has the medium-low work rates. This card has the medium-low work rates. Both of them, when they are in the cam position, they allow you to play football. You guys know what I'm saying? They just allow you to play football. They allow you to move across the pitch the way that you're supposed to. And that's always going to be very, very important for this game. Like, for me personally, I need that movement, because honestly, attacking in this game is horrible, okay? So there's certain cards that you need just to have regular proper movement. Like, even the new team of the season, Bernardo Silva at cam is great. Phil Foden's team of the season card is great, right? Because they have that certain movement that you need in those areas to be able to attack. So it's not just the movement. Finesse shots are nasty. Power strikes across goal are nasty. This guy just involves himself on the pitch constantly. It's just a card that always wants the ball. Literally, Messi is one of those guys that when he is attacking, he positions himself in the attacking areas to go for finesse shots. I'm telling you guys, this is just a thing that he does. He always tries to go for finesse shots with the way that he goes downwards and then upwards to get into those areas properly. Yeah, he's a beast. He's an absolute monster. I'm looking at Verratti, and that's gonna be a tough one because Verratti is honestly really good, but it's the height. Next up we have is Neymar. Neymar is also gonna be in the S tier. There's too many S tiers. I told you this is gonna be a problem. The League One has so many good players. There's so many S tiers, bro. Hold on, guys. We're gonna have 2 rows of the S tier. Yeah, Neymar is sick, man. Neymar is really good. For me personally, Neymar is definitely more of a side player for sure. It's definitely a card that you use in the left mid, right mid area. I'm gonna be honest though, man. I don't know if pro players are gonna like the card this year. Like, I could see Neymar being very, very 50-50, okay? Like, I could see him being very, very 50-50. Some people will like him, some people won't, depending on the play style that they're gonna go with. I do not at any point in time think that the card is worth 6.2 mil, because let me tell you guys something right now, okay? I'm gonna tell you guys something right now. You see this bad boy right here, Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr. is way better than that Neymar card, okay? And I stand by that completely. This Vinicius Jr. card is probably top 5 cards I've used this year. I think he's absolutely insane. His attacking AI, disgusting. Movement on the ball, disgusting. Shooting, disgusting. Skill moves, like, just everything is amazing on this card, okay? Absolutely amazing. So if we're doing a comparison from one to the other Brazilian left wing position in FIFA, Vinicius is a better card, okay? 100%. Like, I stand by that completely. Neymar, he has this thing this year where he's still good, right? But he doesn't have that crazy it factor like Vinicius does. Vinicius, like, he had it, like, bro, and you could feel it with Vinicius, because you know how sometimes in the beginning, like, okay, in the beginning of the year this year, right? You know how people were using like the rare golds Neymar and stuff, and they're like, so you could see it like on Twitter and stuff, 50-50, right? And then I use the card and I'm like, I could see why this card is 50-50. I cannot see you disliking a card like a Lucas Paqueta. That, I think if you dislike Lucas Paqueta, you're a fraud. That's like a, you know, but Neymar, I could see where the 50-50 comes from. With Vinicius, it was like a common consensus that the card was just good. You use the player of the month card, honestly, most of the times you wouldn't even have to give him a dribbling boost and he was still a monster, okay? But, you know, with Neymar's card, obviously, he's still a beast, because with Neymar, 5-star capabilities. Again, more of a card that I would use in those side areas, left mid, right mid positions. Definitely would suit, you know, the 4-4-2 formation, the 4-2-2 formation. Like, those formations, I feel like this card would really, really dominate in. I think he's still very, very good, obviously, right? Like, I don't think he's worth that much coins, but he is still a beast, 100%, right? Next up, we have Nuno Mendes. See, Nuno Mendes, I don't mind, dude, I could see pro players using him. Let's be honest, guys. Like, I'm gonna put him in the S tier too. I'm gonna put him in the S tier. You know what? You know why I'm putting him in the S tier over Emerson? Like, let me say, okay? I'm like stuttering right now. Emerson's card, it's good, but the links are different. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Leon links, the Italian links, like, the only thing that you were gonna do with that was Verratti or Denayer, right? But with Nuno Mendes, Portuguese, you know, I mean, this is more for sentimental value I've seen on my part, but it's the PSG link, okay? The PSG link, that's the biggest one, because, yeah, Emerson gets links to Verratti. You know who else gets links to Verratti? Nuno Mendes. You know who else gets links to Nuno Mendes? Marquinhos, okay? That's a triple link setup just like that. Easy. So, for me personally, I 100% see pro players using the Nuno Mendes card as well in their team, because he's a beast. I definitely see it 100%. These cards here, I can see some of them maybe not making it. Klaus, I can maybe see, but that's why, you know, I make that argument, because he's really good, right? But these cards, like, I would be surprised if pro players didn't even try out these cards, you know? Like, maybe not Yedder because of the 5-star skills. They love the 5-star skills because of the McGeady counts as ball roll scoops, all that kind of stuff. But even still a very good card. Maybe they keep him on the bench or something, right? But yeah, Nuno Mendes, it gives you that links. And again, the card, if you take a look at his stats in game, very similar situation to the Emerson card. But I mean, listen, you give this card a backbone chemistry style, defense is there, physicality is there, passing is there. He performed really well for me in game. I really liked him personally. So I'm definitely going to put him in the S tier. Even when I did his review, I was like, he's probably going to be an S tier card. Dimitri Payet. We're going to put him at the B tier. Yeah, we're going to put him at the B tier. Dimitri, they did a good job with the upgrades on this card. They did. I'm not going to say that they didn't, okay? It's definitely not how you pronounce his name. Dimitri Payet. Payet. This card, guys, we're going to put him at the B tier because it's not a card that I see a lot of people using, but he's not terrible. He actually performs pretty decently in game, right? It's nothing crazy special. I think in the B tier, it's definitely fair. Like, it's kind of like Guidi. Like, I don't think Guidi is crazy, right? But he also has 5-star skills, which adds a little bit to the card. You know what? Maybe I'd put Guidi in the A tier, and then I'd put Payet over here in the B tier. I think I'm okay with this, actually. The difference between these guys, because Terrier is going to be fodder. Well, Saliba, these guys are close to fodder, though. Payet, C, B. We're going to see. We're going to see, boys. But yeah, I wasn't like crazy impressed with Payet's card. Like, it was like, you know, it's a card that, you know, can actually play decently in game, but, you know, nothing too crazy in my opinion. Saliba's usable, but I could see him. By the way, is the B tier and lower? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys put these cards into fodder, right? So Bourigeaud C tier. Yeah, it's hard to say. But yeah, we have Saliba next. Saliba's card's actually pretty decent. I like this card. I told you guys that this list is gonna be hard to do because you guys are gonna see people in the lower list, and you're gonna be like, "Why is this guy here?" Right? Because they're still pretty decent. But yeah, Saliba's pretty solid. Shadow chemistry style on this guy is nice. I do think that there are better center back options for sure. Not like a crazy amount, but if you were to get him for 52k for what he offers in game, it's not necessarily bad. It's just that, you know, for me personally, if I were to go with a 3-back formation, I would totally use him in it for sure. But I would definitely prefer a different type of player. In the game nowadays, guys, you want to try to have players that are close to 99 pace in both areas as much as possible. That's why when it came to like this Bourigeaud SPC, you know, you give him an anchor chemistry style, cool beans, you give him the physical. I give him a shadow anyways, because in this game, having 99 is very important when your base card stats for physical is super high. So Saliba is pretty decent. Like I said, I might actually change a few cards here and there depending, because I have this C tier, but the C tier I don't really care too much about because I wouldn't even call fodder. We'll see what Terrier looks like. We'll see what he looks like. Tchouameni. This is where I might have to start moving guys downwards. Oh, now I see. Now I see what I would do. I see what I would do now. This is where we're going to do the split. It's the S and the A's. Yeah. Yeah, I like this. I like this. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. Okay. This is nice. I like this a little bit more. It makes me more comfortable, in my opinion. Okay, so Tchouameni's card. Tchouameni, I think they did a pretty good job with as well, for sure. You know what I liked about this card is that when I was using him, I was like, wow, his dribbling actually feels nice. Like, if I wanted to use this card as, you know, if you were to play like the 4-1-2-2 formation and you're using him on the cover center instructions, but he could potentially attack from time to time, I actually genuinely wouldn't mind that because the dribbling on this card actually works out great. His shooting is really nice. Passing comes off great. Pace is really good for the middle of the game at a high work rate, high stamina. He's a tall player in the midfield position. I personally don't see him as an S tier, but I still see him as an A tier. See, now I feel a little bit more comfortable with this list. You know, I feel a little bit, it's getting there a little bit more, you know? Like, there's like a few cards I'm probably gonna move here and there, but this is where it's feeling very nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Next up, we have is the Terrier card. Terrier card. This card, guys, listen, they did a good job with the upgrades. I'm not going to say that they didn't, right? They did a good job with the upgrades. You know, with this card, if you were to give him an engine chemistry style, he'll be usable. Before the meta of FIFA nowadays, I don't see people using this card that much, okay? To be honest with you, he's a medium work rated player. You give him an engine, he's still going to be decent. If you're good enough at the game, he's definitely going to be decent. Some people are giving him the finisher chemistry style, right? Because of the extra shooting boost while still boosting the dribbling, because the pace being in a decent area for a card that can be played in the side position. So I'm not against this at all, but from what I've seen recently, people have been using him for fodder for the most part, right? But they definitely gave him some really good upgrades. Honestly, if this was FIFA 15, people would use this card anyways, but it's just one of those situations where we're going to have to put him over here. Probably going to have to use him for fodder for the most part because, yeah, people don't really use these cards that much. Verratti. Guys, here's the thing about Verratti. I'm going to explain it to you guys, and I feel like you guys are going to understand what I'm saying. So you guys know about the inconsistent gameplay in this game, right? Okay. So my main problem with Verratti, and it's always been like this even on the rule breakers, is the height. The height, okay? For certain interceptions and certain tackles, you notice it in certain cases. But the thing is, though, is that if you have him lined him up, you know, next to somebody like a Fofana, I would honestly put him super high up there because he's literally good at doing everything else. And not only that, guys, but Verratti is a gameplay compensator, okay? Gameplay compensator. This guy, your gameplay could be rough, but his dribbling is so good. His dribbling is in the mid-90s area with a unique body type. You give him a shadow chemistry style. It's a card that is honestly good at doing everything. Like, the height I will sacrifice because of who I would use next to him anyways. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like when I was using him in the 3-4-1-2 video that you guys are going to see today, man, Verratti was a monster for me. Like I'm telling you, like I was playing at 10 o'clock at night, and that's when you notice your players feeling a little bit more responsive, a little bit lighter on their feet. Verratti was just boom, 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 boom. But there was just moments where I'm like, if this guy had height, he'd be a monster. But the thing is, man, is that you it's hard to have both, right? Like Paqueta, you have the height a little bit because he's like a 5'11" player, right? Let me show you guys. So with Paqueta, was like I mentioned earlier, he's a 5'11" player, so he's not as short, right? But he could still dribble. So that's why I'd put him at the S tier, okay? But Verratti, I don't know, man. Like I'm gonna be honest, like I could see some competitive players using him just because he's a gameplay commentator. Like he's very responsive, you know? Very responsive. His AI is awesome too. It's just there's sometimes the height it gets to me sometimes, you know. So the Verratti situation's weird. I gotta put him at an A just because of the height, but he's so good. I'm very happy that I got that SPC, to be honest with you. It kills me not to put him at an S. Let me see this list for a second, okay? Let me just take it all in, okay? Let me just take it all in. Okay, so first of all, for the sake of the thumbnail, you know we got to do this, right? You know we got to do the whole like Neymar, blah, 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 and then Ben Yedder, you know, bang, bang, you know what I'm saying? A little bang. Okay, let me take a look at this list because this is the hardest list I'm going to create because all of these guys are honestly really sick. Okay, these cards right here, can I edit this to be C/fodder? Yeah, I'm going to do that because some of these cards would be fodder. C/fodder. Okay, so the S tier cards, Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, Ben Yedder, Lucas Paqueta, Fofana, Marquinhos, Nuno Mendes, I can 100% see pro players using. A tier, I can 100% see pro players using. Oof, this is such a tough list. What a tough list. Wow. Guys, listen, this is probably the hardest tier list that I'm going to make for sure because honestly, a lot of these cards are really good. Because here's the thing, the B tier and up, I could see people consistently using all of these players, right? These guys in lower, I don't see people consistently getting or using that much. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking at this tier list, and to be honest with you, I'm not fully against it. The arguments here, right, is I'd put Lafont and Dante at the end here because like some of these cards can be argued into the A. The A's I would not put in the B's. I'm being dead serious. I would not do it, right? The S tiers I'm 100% comfortable with. Like Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, Ben Yedder, Lucas Paqueta, Fofana, Marquinhos. I have absolutely zero doubts, right? But the A's are very close to the S2. So those two together I would honestly put them very, very close. So I don't think that the A's are like significantly worse or anything like that. Like you can make a huge argument to put them in the S. I just think that the S, they're just so obvious because they're basically perfect at everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but the A tiers, they're still incredible. And Nuno Mendes, just team of the season, is a sick card. Emerson, it's just links. I'd probably put him there too. Greedy is sick because of the 5-star skills and has defensive capabilities. Has an average body type though, that's why I bring him a little lower. Lafont, the argument can be made for Lafont. Lafont's actually pretty good, but Dante's also pretty good. But that's what I'm saying, right? The B, guys, for the League One team of the season, I'm telling you, look at the B and up. They're all good cards in their own ways. But the A to S, they're the obvious ones. You know what I'm saying? Like they are the obvious ones that are sick. Sick cards. But you know what? Now that I'm looking at this tier list, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not really against it. I'm not really against it, man. I'm not really against it. Dante was a really good gameplay objective card. But yeah, I like who I put in the B. I like who I put in the A, and I like who I put in the S. To be honest with you, I like it. Yeah. I'm just trying to see. Did I forget anybody? No, I didn't forget anybody. I'm just not against it. I think these guys are all amazing. I think these guys are really good. And Verratti and good gameplay is whoo. Klaus just has those animations. Tchouameni they did a great job with. Nuno Mendes is sick. Guendouzi with the medium high is sick. Yeah, I'm not against this list, guys. I'm not against this list. The last argument that I might make here is the new SPC Bourigeaud card. The reason why I'm putting him there is because of the position that he plays in, giving you those links to the French Ligue 1 players while offering you attacking and defensive support at a high work rate, 4-star capability, and pretty much good at doing everything. I wouldn't use this card in a 2 midfield setup personally. I would definitely wouldn't do that. But if I'm using him as a right wing back or a right mid because that's how I want to format my team, I'm not against putting him in the team for that reason, because it's an easy card to get links with as well. So I would put him in the B tier just for that very reason. I do think that quality wise, maybe some of these guys are better than him for sure, but him having that variable of being in a different position and having both attacking and defensive stats, that's what brings him up there, you know? So, I'm looking at this tier list, guys. I'm not completely against it. It's the one that's killing me the most is Verratti, because I really like the card. I really like him. And I think 260k is fantastic for him, to be honest with you. It's just the height. The height, I'd put him in the S tier, you know, but I still think he's a sick card. That's the one that's killing me a little bit, you know, but yeah, League One team of the season was definitely very good in regards to mostly transfer market cards. Verratti was a cool SPC. Guidi was a cool SPC. They were all cool SPCs, but we missed out on like some really cool ones, you know, like a Renato Sanchez and stuff would have been really nice, but they're probably saving that for some promo in the future, because you know how EA works when it comes to that kind of stuff. So but yeah, totally comfortable with this tier list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. I will catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.